Couple just way out there. You're barely picking up about 80 feet. Right there. Got him on. Right there. Fish out. Look at that fish. That's what we're after right there, boys. What is going on, guys? We are back with another video today. It is an absolutely beautiful morning. I think it's like the longest day of the year, the summer solstice, right? So we'll take advantage of it. We'll get up nice and early today. Spent a while getting the camera set up, drinking my coffee, tying a few baits on. Let me show you guys the sunrise because it is beautiful. We're back in northern Wisconsin today. I've wrapped up my North Dakota tour. And it's good to see pine trees again. It's good to see some like terrain features, and it's definitely good to see some sunrises like this behind me right here. Absolutely beautiful morning up here in northern Wisconsin. Now, if you guys watched a lot of the North Dakota content I filmed, absolutely tore them up on this bait right here. The brand new Kalins WALLEYE search bait. That bait was a complete monster on that trip. But to really see how good a bait is, I want to take it to some very pressured water. It's 4:45 or 5 a.m. right now. I was the fourth boat in line to launch. So we're fishing some small lakes, 1,000, 2,000 acres, that gets absolutely slammed with pressure. And I want to see what this bait is capable of in some highly pressured water. So that's kind of the plan this morning. Fish for a couple hours, see what we can do, and make it happen from there. We got we're almost entering kind of that midsummer time frame, right? I always think of midsummer as like July 4th on, but for now, let's blast off, see if we can find some fish. We'll probably get up on the bow and see what we can do with the old search bait and see if we can make it happen on there. And that's the plan. I'm not going to talk too much because it's just beautiful outside and I want to cast and catch a fish. I've been sitting on a computer for 6 days, just editing nonstop pretty much, and I'm ready to fish. Alrighty, there's two kinds of spots where I look for a lot of walleyes on these kind of like northern Wisconsin style lakes in June time frame. Both of those are listed right on the Walleye Now app. One is rocks, one is weeds. And if you're a guy who maybe fishes these type of systems a lot, northern Wisconsin, northern Minnesota, a lot of 500, 2,000, 3,000 acre lakes, that's going to be your home for this kind of really in-depth breakdown on exactly what we're doing. So jump over there on the Walleye Now app, click Let's Go Fishing, and click Early Summer Natural Lake, and all that great information is going to be right there. But let's get rigged up. So let's even take it a step farther and let's fish some artificials on here. Got asked a ton of questions. What artificials do you fish? Things like that on the search bait. Well, one that I generally have pretty good luck with is these guys right here, and this is the Uncle Josh pork night crawler. I'm trying to find some that I already have open in here. Maybe that guy right there. And this is a pork night crawler. It's not necessarily plastic, but because it's pork, it almost like has a very like lifelike look in the water. So we're gonna open this up here. It actually was not open yet. I'll kind of show you guys how I like to rig this thing. So basically what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna take this pork crawler, which is pretty long, and I'm just gonna cut it right about there. And I'm just gonna cut that fat end off because we're gonna rig this kind of on the end of the search bait, obviously. Then I'm gonna take the tail section and I'm gonna cut up the long way. And this is one of my favorite ways to rig plastics on either, or kind of like an artificial option on either a spinner rig or in this case, the search bait. So now I have that right there, and I'll link these pork crawlers down below because they're obviously a lot better than using night crawlers a lot of times. And we'll see if they bite them. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take that and thread the fat end on to the search bait. Something that's going to look a little bit like this right here. And just take your time threading it on there, get it on there nice and good. Now you could put this on the slow death, or you can put it right onto here that looks something like that. And I wish I probably should have put the slow death on there because it'd give that a little bit more action, but that is gonna work for now. We also did I kind of doctor my search baits up a little bit with a little Boley special kind of action on there. And if that's something, if you're a guy who's gonna fish the search baits, you're 100% gonna wanna watch that video on the app. We filmed it yesterday real quick, kind of on all the small tweaks I do to that bait to kind of make it just this absolute monster, which it seems to be. So let's get set up here. Let's get the Mega Live down, and hopefully we'll start seeing some walleyes here on a beautiful morning like this. Right there. There we go, man. We'll take that, huh? That's the way we want to get it going. Feeling like a nice fish. Feeling like a nice fish. Oh, yeah, real nice walleye here. Pretty good school there. Had to cover a little bit of water till we kind of found a good school. He's angry, man. He's real angry. Look at that guy. And up here on these pressured lakes, man, these are the fish that we want right here. It's nice, healthy, hardy, 21, 22 inches. Come here, bud. And they are so colored up and golden up here. We'll take them, man. That's what we're after right there. That is 100% what we're after. And I'm fishing the old Fire Tiger color. I'll kind of call it perch, but I just added, it's kind of a dark green with an orange belly. And I kind of added some black bars on there. Let's get you off, bud. He absolutely choked that thing, man. Grab the pliers real quick. That's the way we want to get it going, huh? And on these lakes that might not have just like a ton of fish, you end up, maybe combing a couple spots to find them, or, running around looking at a lot of singles or doubles, kind of until you get in that area where you're like, oh yeah, there's a pot of them, Where in lakes that have a lot of fish, you're more likely to see kind of those big schools of fish, kind of throughout a lot of different spots. But it's as good as it gets right there, man. Let's do that again, huh? I'll take it. Couple just way out there, you're barely picking up about 80 feet. Right there. Got him on. Feeling all right. Feeling all right. A lot of times in these real pressured systems, the farther you can stay away from that fish, the outcome is a lot of times much better. Man, it was like he was coming with me for a second. Now he's just like, no, I think I'll just stay right here. Real nice walleye though. Oh yeah, look at him, man, in that gin clear water. Look at all that bug hatch on the surface too. Definitely one of those little bit, potentially more challenging days where you just don't have any wind and a big bug hatch floating on the surface. I've been pushed off 3 spots already today by other boats, just kind of coming in. But that's kind of what you can anticipate on a lot of these, popular lakes and tourist cabin country. But there we go, man. It's a nice fish right there, huh? We'll take that. Absolutely lunched that search bait just way out there like that. One thing we do have going is I would take a little bit more wind, but the nice part about not a lot of wind is the boat just sits here, right? So I can really kind of make pinpointed casts, stop on a dime if I need to, and all that kind of stuff. But we'll get it popped off there, buddy. There we go, man. Look at that fish. That's what we're after right there, boys. That's a nice one. For sure a nice one. In a lot of these high pressure systems, you put a good morning together of, 5, 6 fish. that's a good outing. You don't always come out to these lakes that just get beat up all the time and, you know, put 35 fish in the boat. But let's bait back up, do it again. You know, one thing I always say on like highly pressured lakes, and the same thing goes for like fishing in a cold front or, you know, any kind of adverse conditions where fish might not be super bitey. Pressure is the same kind of thing, but do all of the little things right is always what I say. So all of the little things could mean, you know, trying to make sure that when you cast, your bait's in front of a fish, as opposed to just casting through an area hoping that the fish bite, right? When fish are very bitey, they'll come from a lot longer distance away to bite a bait. So in pressured systems, a lot of times what you're trying to do is really kind of dial in on exactly where fish are. Whether you're using the side imaging, whether you're dropping a hyper rattle or a jig and wrap on a sonar right in front of a fish, or whether you're using a forward facing and casting the search bait right into those fish. Doing all those little things right is very important. Making sure you have a long lead to get away from, you know, a fish that might see the braid. Those things are important. Doing the right action on your bait. You know, maybe go a little bit slower if you're seeing a lot of fish kind of chasing but not committing, right? All of those things kind of make a difference when you're fishing pressured systems. Or maybe it's something like going to a live bait a lot of times. I'm sure we could catch a few on the crawler today, or the Uncle Josh port crawler, which normally I do pretty good on, especially if we have some wind. But, you know, today it might be fishing the half a night crawler. So all of those little things are kind of ultimately what makes a difference on pressured systems. People always say like, oh, what's the secret to fishing, you know, high pressured lakes and catching fish on them? Doing all of the small things right is generally the answer to that question. So fishing a nice compact little presentation like that, nice long fluorocarbon lead, making sure when we cast out our baits around fish, those are all things that help me out today. And obviously some right there. That one's not hard to see, is it? Right there. Fish out. Right out of that school. Right where he should have came out of, huh? Nice walleye. Nice walleye. Well, we're definitely putting them together. I'll say that. On the search bait. Caught the first one, I think, on the pork crawler. And then I just had a couple nippers. And then switched to a reel crawler. And the last two have came on that. So they're probably kind of interchangeable, but who knows, right? And these fish are just so like, I mean, they don't wear boats out here for a, you know, Wednesday morning is absurd. But it's kind of how a lot of these places fish. But it's good to see that this bait catches fish, even on a lot of these pressured fish. And you think about this style of fishing, really what makes this so unique is that essentially you could take a spinner rig, and we all know how effective those are, and put it in front of fish over and over and over. The search bait is meant to be like this kind of seek and destroy type of tool, right? Now, obviously, you could just chuck it behind the boat, throw it in a rod holder, and pull and pull and pull, and catch fish that way. You could put it on a planer board. But my favorite way to fish it, for sure, is like sharpshooting fish like this. Even though it's equally effective, kind of no matter how you want to fish it, right? And we'll kind of pinch this off here. And basically, that's my rigging right there, with a half crawler on there, and that will literally catch you a fish almost anywhere you're going to go in the summertime. Right there. Man, you can see that one just kind of shooting through the school a little bit. And look at him. You know, in clear water, you don't have to, like, we're fishing obviously about 17 feet right now. One thing you don't have to do is, like, try to get the bait on the bottom. These fish in clear water are very accustomed to speed, right? And what I mean by that is, you know, if like, let's say, you know, you could probably see bottom out here in 10 feet today. So let's say, for example, like there's a perch, you know, 20 feet away. Although perch can see the walleye too, right? So these fish are very accustomed in clear water to running up to eat something. And that's exactly what this one did. So don't feel like if you're in, you know, 17, 18 feet of water that you have to be like on the bottom every time. You can definitely stay farther up off bottom and let those fish kind of run up into you. But all the damage so far has come on little old fire tiger right there. And I'll link that bait down below. Wherever you can find some of those search baits, grab them, because they're just seemingly one of these baits that I absolutely cannot take off my rod. It seems like that's how a lot of this summer is going to go. Like we're just going to have to force ourselves to put it down to film something else. But here we go. There's another really nice walleye right there, man. Right there. What do we got? What do we got? He's running kind of weird. Nice walleye. Nice walleye right there. It's just a real tight little group of them. Whenever you see those real tight little groups of them, they're generally all a very similar size, which is like those classic 15 to 20 inch eaters. The big fish will not set up like that, but that was kind of that classic, like real tight little bundle of fish. Where if I crank my sensitivity down, you'd see each individual fish, but a lot of times for this long range shooting, like I'll set this out to, you know, 80, 85 feet like it is now, and I'll crank that sensitivity up just so I can pick stuff up real fast. And we are going to film a part. Mitch is literally on his way here. We're going to film a segment, a real deep dive on walleye now for kind of all my mega live settings and stuff like that, because we get a ton of walleye now users asking for detailed settings. So kind of want to do a long run through on how I'll kind of play with those. But hey man, we're having a good time. High pressured water, catching walleyes on the search bait. Unbelievable tool. You guys are probably literally getting sick of me saying that, how versatile and effective this bait can be. And I'm excited to like put this on a planer board in July and catch fish on it. Just running a big spread, but there we go. There's another nice fish on. Fishing Elliott 7.3 medium light fast. 10-pound braid, long 10-pound fluorocarbon leader. Very important to do a nice long lead when you're fishing real clear pressured water like this. That's what we want to see right there. Yeah, right there. Man, I just stalled that thing for a second and he bit. That was a pretty good school of him. Well, this has definitely been a fun morning, that is for sure. This is feeling like a pretty nice fish. Oh yeah, another real nice one. I mean, they're all pretty decent sized walleyes, really. And if given the conditions, man, this is about as good as it gets. Oh man, almost slacklined myself there. Given the conditions, this is about as good a fishing as you can have. And I'm having an absolute blast doing it, man. We're catching a whole bunch of fish. It is 7:30 in the morning right now. This has been a good little start to the day, hasn't it? It makes the editing a little bit easier this afternoon if I can do some fishing in the morning. Look at that, man. Tons of walleyes on that bait. It blows my mind every time I fish that bait for some reason. It's just that effective. I'll let that guy go. I don't know if it gets too much better. I don't know if it gets too much better than that right there. All right, guys, well, I think that is gonna do it for today's video. Very productive little morning of kind of running around. You guys probably have a terrible sun angle, don't you? Very productive, quick little morning of running around, sharp shooting some fish on the old search bait. Wanted to make sure that this bait caught fish in the most heavily pressured systems I know of, where a lot of times it's hard to get away with anything that's not ultra finessey, right? But obviously no problem catching those fish on kind of a tougher look a day on the search bait, shooting off the Mega Live. Now, you can obviously do this off side imaging. You can, come through a spot with sonar on a deep hump, see those fish, get off of them and cast to them. A lot of different ways to fish that bait, and that's kind of what makes it so productive in my opinion. I do not want to take that bait off of my rod, though we might have to just to film some other content in the future. So home for a couple days, fishing some local pressured water, then getting back on the road and doing that whole song and dance to some locations we have not been yet this season. So looking forward to that as well. But hopefully you guys are out there catching some fish. I'll try to find some links for search baits that are still in stock. If you can find them, get your hands on them for sure. So appreciate you guys watching this one. I'm gonna go pick up Mitchell. We're gonna film some app videos on how to kind of Mega Live settings and things of that nature. But make sure you check out all of those search bait tips on Mega Live or on the Walleye Now app. You're gonna want to see those. Click on Let's Go Fishing at the bottom of the page. And then you're going to want to click on early summer or summer, then under presentation, any body of water. Under presentation, you're going to see those search bait tips. Very key little pieces of information. So appreciate you guys watching this one. It's a beautiful summer day. I'm going to pick up Mitchell. I might jump in the lake and enjoy a beautiful summer day out here in the lake. So appreciate you guys watching. If you guys are not yet subscribed, stay tuned for more content. We'll see you next time.